Huge shout out to the winners of the last video. Comment on this video and I can get you guys the code. We're doing 3 codes in this video. Again, all you guys have to do is like this video and comment your gamer tag. That's it. But we are giving you guys the top 5 best SMGs. I saw you guys actually enjoyed the meta SMG video in the last one. So I'm gonna give you guys the 5 best ones in Warzone 2. So we're gonna start out with the meta one, the absolute best one, which is the Vaznev 9K. So I put on the X10R R40 for sound suppression, bullet velocity, damage range, and recoil smoothness at the cost of aim down sight speed and aiming stability. Set the bullet velocity at 0.39 inches and the recoil smoothness at negative 0.5 ounces. It actually helps aim down sight speed. Doesn't help really beyond that. Put on the CAZ1 381mm for damage range, hip fire accuracy, bullet velocity at the cost of aim down sight speed, and hip recoil control. Set the damage range at 0.15 inches and the recoil steadiness at 0.34 pounds. Put on the 45 round mag unless you think you can handle 30. If you can handle 30, then just put on overpressured. You can put on overpressured and then just raise the bullet velocity and damage range. I think the damage range is like 0.45, and then the bullet velocity, I'm not sure. It's like, you can just set it halfway and you'll probably be good, if I remember correctly. It's basically the same as high velocity. So true tack grip set to sprint to fire speed and aim down sight speed at the cost of recoil control. Set the sprint to fire speed to negative 0.15 inches and the recoil steadiness at 0.58 ounces. Broadside FCT stock for aiming stability, crouch movement speed, aim down sight speed, and sprint speed at the cost of aim walking speed and recoil control. Set the aiming out stability at 0.70 inches and the aim down sight speed to negative 3.87 ounces. This thing basically hits like an AR, so this is why I love using this so much. The only downside is super long range. You're gonna have to burst fire, but you guys see how fast it actually gets the job done, super long range. This is why I actually highly recommend it. So short, medium, long range, you get that burst fire in and you get the job done. It's such an amazing SMG that if you don't have this in your arsenal, you're most likely gonna lose a ton of fights. Especially with SMGs, this is the ideal one. So second on the list is actually the Vel 46. This thing is also amazing. I think it gets the job done pretty well. Obviously, it's not stronger than the Vaznev, but it does compare very well, especially in close range gunfights. You most likely will win versus a Vaznev. So X10R R40 for sound suppression, bullet velocity, damage range, and recoil smoothness at the cost of aim down sight speed and aiming stability. Set the bullet velocity at 0.32 inches and do not change the weight. You don't have to do that. Put on the Schlager L203 barrel for damage range, hip fire accuracy, and bullet velocity at the cost of aim down sight speed and hip recoil control. Set the damage range at 0.30 inches and don't change the weight. I know that's 2 of them where I said don't change the weight, just trust me on that. Now, VLK Laser 7 MW for aim down sight speed, aiming stability, and sprint to fire speed. The cost of laser being visible in ADS. Do not change the zeroing distance, but change the sprint to fire speed to negative 0.37 ounces. Demo RXT stock for crouch movement speed, sprint speed, and aim down sight speed at the cost of recoil control. Set the aiming out stability 1.70 inches and the weight to negative 1.42 ounces for aim down sight speed. Last thing is just Schlager Soldier Grip for sprint to fire speed and aim down sight speed at the cost of recoil control. Set the sprint to fire speed to negative 0.20 inches and the aim down sight speed to negative 0.48 ounces. This thing is incredible. It gets the job done close range. Long range is the only thing that I would kind of be concerned about. I don't think that it's really going to win long range. As you guys see, it bounces a little too much for that. But short to medium range definitely gets the job done, especially if you get a headshot. So try to stick to that short to medium range. Long range, you're most likely going to lose the fight, and I don't want that for you. Next, we're moving on to the MP5, which is the Lachmann Sub. This thing is incredible, and I highly recommend anybody that's watching this video to try this out at least once. This is a very fast movement build, and it gets the job done pretty quickly. So I put on the Merc foregrip for hip fire accuracy, recoil steadiness, hip recoil control, and aim walking steadiness at the cost of hip walking speed and aim down sight speed. Now you're going to be confused at this build, but I have a very intentional purpose for it. So increase aim down sight speed by negative 0.28 inches and the hip walking speed by negative 0.54 ounces. This is very, very useful. Trust me, you're going to be able to move very fast thanks to this tuning right here. Next, the 9mm overpressure for target flinch increase. Increase the bullet velocity of 4.94 GR and the damage range of 0.45 Gs. VLK Laser 7 MW for aim down sight speed, aiming stability, and sprint to fire speed. The cost of the laser being visible in ADS. Do not change the zeroing distance because you don't have to, but change the weight to negative 0.23 ounces. LM stockless mod for aim down sight speed, sprint to fire speed, movement speed, and hip recoil control at the cost of aiming recoil control, aiming stability, and flinch resistance. The last thing I want to show you guys is the 40 round mag. And if you want to use a 50, you can. I just don't think it's necessary. I think 40 is more than enough. This is another thing where I think close and medium range is where it basically shines. Now long range, you're gonna have to basically have a different build, and that different build is in my ranked video, where it's basically a different stock and everything. But short to medium range for this build right here is perfect. Long range, like I said, watch the ranked video and you'll have an ideal MP5 build for long range. Next, we're moving on to something that I still love to this day. Everyone's given up on it, but I have not given up on it. The Fennec. This thing is still incredible in my opinion, despite the nerfs and everything. I think people have kind of just given up on it and tried to use different things, but this is one of my favorite SMGs, honestly. So, ZLR 16.5 ignition barrel for damage range, bullet velocity, hip fire accuracy, and recoil control at the cost of aim down sight speed, hip recoil control, and movement speed. Now set the damage to 0.25 inches and the recoil steadiness to 0.50 pounds. VLK laser 7 MW for aim down sight speed, aiming stability, and sprint to fire speed at the cost of laser being visible in ADS. Set the aim down sight speed to 18.10 feet. Change the weight to negative 0.24 ounces for sprint to fire speed. Then put on the Agile Assault 7 stock for sprint speed, aim walking speed, crouch movement speed, and aim down sight speed at cost of aiming stability and recoil control. Set the aiming out stability to 2.40 inches and the aim down sight speed to negative 2.06 ounces. Fennec rubber grip for sprint to fire speed and aim down sight speed at the cost of recoil control. Now, if you want to give some more aim and out stability, you can. I just don't think it's necessary. I think you should just leave the width alone. Increase the recoil steadiness for 0.42 ounces. And then the Fennec Mag 45, of course, I just don't think it'd be a good idea to actually substitute that. So here's the outcome. Like I said, I think that this thing is still amazing. Long range is not really my favorite, but as you guys see, you can still get the job done long range, and there's still not that much recoil. It's kind of sad that people are kind of writing this off when it's still such an amazing SMG. You just kind of have to burst power for long range. I think they're just so used to the long range fights being super easy, and since it is a little bit more challenging now, they kind of just wrote it off. But in my opinion, I still think it's a very viable SMG, and you should honestly use it because close range, you will get the job done very quickly. Now, last thing I want to show you guys is something that's so easy to use, and I'm actually very surprised that people aren't using this that much. It's the Minibak. Now, the reason I love the Minibak so much is just because you start out with 64 bullets, and so all you have to do is basically tune this to either make it very fast or very powerful. So I gave you guys the best of both worlds, making it fast and powerful. So X10R 40 for sound suppression, bullet velocity, damage range, or recoil smoothness at the cost of aim down sight speed and aiming stability. Set the bullet velocity at 0.77 inches and the recoil smoothness to 0.54 ounces. Then I put on the Bach 9 279mm barrel for damage range, hip fire accuracy, bullet velocity at the cost of aim down sight speed and hip recoil control. Set the damage range to 0.22 inches and do not change the weight because it's not necessary. Now, if you do want to change the weight, you can increase the recoil steadiness, but you should probably only increase it by about 14-15. Beyond that, it's just too much of a trade-off. You guys see the recoil will get better, but I just don't think it's necessary. So I'm going to show you guys what happens if you just don't change it in general. But broadside FCT for aiming stability, crouch movement speed, aim down sight speed, the sprint speed at the cost of aim walking speed and recoil control. Set the aiming out stability at 1.32 inches and do not change the weight. Put on the demo X2 grip for recoil control at the cost of aiming stability. Set the aiming out stability to 0.36 inches and the recoil steadiness to 0.52 ounces. And last but not least, the 9mm overpressured for target flinch. Set the bullet velocity to 7.84 GR and the damage range of 0.50 G. Now, this thing is so good, and you have so many bullets to work with that I'm surprised people aren't actually using this. Now, the downside is long range is not going to be my favorite. You can still get the long range done, but I think you should stick to short to medium range. The good side about this is it has a ton of bullets and you can reload those bullets very easy. Now, as you guys see, I won't do the best job long range, but short to medium is just so easy to use. You can actually squad wipe very easily too. So great damage, great bullets, and overall just a fantastic gun for anybody to use. Please try it out at least once. And the last thing I gotta show you guys is my attachments and my perks, just because I feel like everybody kind of wants to get an idea of what I typically use. So stun grenade, throwing knife. For the perk package, if I have overkill, it's double time, fast hands, and high alert. Without overkill, I have tracker, double time, fast hands, and high alert.